Today in English grammar, we'll be looking at phrase, clause, and sentence. And I'm going to tell the difference between a phrase and a clause and a sentence. Okay, a phrase is a group of words that has no finite verb but has a head word. So let's look at the features of a phrase. First, it's a group of words. Second, it has no finite verb. Then thirdly, a head word. Okay, fine. I've done a video on phrases in English. So you can actually watch the video on phrases in English on YouTube. So let's see. Examples of phrases. The most beautiful girl. The is a determinant, most is an adjective, beautiful is an adjective, girl is the head word. So this is a noun phrase, no final verb. In other words, no verb. 2. In the kitchen. In here is a preposition acting as the head word. The is a determinant, kitchen is a noun word. So no verb, hence a phrase. Faster than the speed of bullets. Faster than, adjective. The, determinant. Speed, adjective here. Of, preposition. Bullets, noun. So no verb. This is a what? A phrase also. Okay, fine. Now, I haven't talked about a phrase. Let's see what a clause is. A clause is a group of words that has a subject and a verb. I repeat, a clause is a group of words that has a subject and a verb. In other words, a finite verb. Again, you can go over to my YouTube video where I talked about what? Finite and non-finite verb. Okay, fine. A clause is divided into two main parts. The first part is called the independent. Another name for the independent is known as what? The main clause. Then 2, dependent or subordinate clause. Okay, fine. What is an independent clause? An independent clause is that clause that can stand on its own and make a complete thought. Again, independent clause is that clause that can stand on its own and make a complete thought. Let's see examples of independent clause. 1. Children organize playtime. Children is the subject, organize is the what? Is the verb. Take note, this is a group of words that has a subject and a verb. Again, another example of the independent clause is I saw the man. I is the subject, saw the verb. It's enough to make a word, a clause. And these two examples of the independent clause or the main clause express a complete thought. The second is the word, the dependent clause. The dependent clause is that clause that cannot stand on its own. It mainly depends on the independent clause. Example of the dependent clause is when this day is bright. That's one. Then who killed the snake? Then let's try to understand it that dependent clause is also called subordinate clause. Reason being that what? They are usually introduced by subordinators. Again, subordinators introduce dependent clause. When here is a subordinator, who here is a subordinator. Apart from when and who, we still have until, you have if, you have so, you have who, you have which, whose, that, etc. These are subordinators that help to introduce dependent clause. So when the day is bright, the presence of when here and the presence of who here has helped this word, this statement to become a subordinate word clause or a dependent clause. However, we can actually attach or join subordinate clause to independent clause to express a full-fledged sentence. A good example is this. Children organize playtime when the day is bright. I repeat, children organize playtime when the day is bright. I saw the man who killed the snake. We talked about the phrase and the clause. Let's look at the sentence. A sentence is a group of words that express a complete thought. Traditionally, a sentence is divided into two main parts. The first part is called the subject. But the second part is called the predicate. Okay, the subject refers to the thing or the person that performs the action, while the predicate refers to what? The action that is carried out by the subject. So let's see an example. The man killed the snake. Here, the man is the subject, kill the snake is the predicate. So the subject consists of either a noun or a pronoun or a noun phrase, while the predicate consists of a whole lot of elements. We can have the verb in the predicate, we can have the object in the predicate, we can have the complement in the predicate, and we can also have the word, the adverb in the predicate. With regard to type, sentence can be categorized into two parts. The first part is sentence according to use. Okay, for sentence according to use, there are four types of sentence according to use. One, you take it as A. Declarative sentence. Okay, this declarative sentence is used to show a fact or express a statement. E.g., I know the boy. Okay, another type of sentence according to use is B. Imperative sentence. The imperative sentence is used to show command. E.g., go away. The next is the interrogative sentence. The interrogative sentence is used to ask question. E.g., what is your name? How are you? Okay, it's always end with a quotation mark. Sorry, it always ends with a question mark. The last type under sentence according to use is the exclamatory sentence. The exclamatory sentence is used to express feeling. E.g., what a day. And exclamatory sentence usually ends with the exclamation mark. The second category of sentence based on type is known as sentence according to structure. Sentence according to structure is divided into four parts. The first part is known as simple sentence. The second is known as, let me use my figure 2 here, compound sentence. The third is known as complex sentence. Then the fourth is known as compound complex sentence. We're going to take each of these type of sentence according to use one after the other, beginning with the simple sentence. A simple sentence consists of one independent clause. We already know what an independent clause is. An independent clause is that clause that can stand on its own. An example of or examples of simple sentence include: 1. Mary is singing. Simple. Another example: John is dancing. Simple. Okay, these are two examples of simple sentence. The first one, Mary is singing. The second, John is dancing. That's for simple sentence. Okay, the next is compound sentence. A compound sentence consists of two independent clauses joined by coordinators. Again, a compound sentence consists of two independent clauses joined by a coordinator. The question is, what are coordinators? Okay, I'm going to use the acronyms fanboys to show what coordinators are. Fan boys. Okay, here F stands for for, A stands for and, N stands for nor, B stands for but, O stands for or, Y stands for yet, then S stands for so. Okay, these are coordinators in English. So let's see examples of compound sentence. Mary is singing and John is dancing. Compound sentence. Okay, fine. If you look at this closely, Mary is singing is an independent clause. John is dancing is another independent clause joined by the coordinator and. So in other words, compound sentence can consist of two simple sentences joined by what? A coordinator. Next is a complex sentence. A complex sentence consists of one independent clause and one dependent clause. Example: 1. Mary is singing while John is dancing. Mary is singing is independent clause, while John is dancing is dependent clause. The presence of Y has made this other part of the word clause to be dependent. So this is a good example of a complex sentence. Take note, dependent clause are joined to independent clause by the use of subordinators, and Y is a subordinator. Another example, example 2. I know the man who killed the snake. I know the man is the main clause. Who killed the snake is the subordinate clause. I know the man, main clause, is also known as independent clause. Who killed the snake, dependent clause, is also known as what? Subordinate clause. The presence of what? The subordinator, who. Again, in a complex sentence, the dependent clause can actually come before the independent clause. Example: if I were, that's number 3. If I were you, comma, I would have killed the snake. Okay, fine. This is a subordinator. If is a subordinator. Since if it's a subordinator, if I were you is the dependent clause, I would have killed the snake is the independent clause. So complex sentence, complex, then complex. Lastly is the compound complex sentence. A compound complex sentence consists of two independent clauses and one dependent clause. Example: the man ate the food hurriedly and drank the water quickly because he was hungry. Okay, fine. Let's see this now. The man ate the food is an independent clause. The man ate the food hurriedly is an independent clause. And drank the water is another. And drank the water quickly. And drank the water quickly is another independent clause. Then because he was hungry, because here is a subordinator. So because he was hungry makes it a what? A compound complex sentence. In conclusion, the difference between a phrase and a clause is a phrase does not have a verb, while a clause has a subject and a verb. Okay? Then the difference between a clause and a sentence is that a clause may or may not make a complete thought. A good example is a dependent clause. A dependent clause does not make a complete thought, but a sentence always make a complete thought.